Over the course of 2 days in Los Angeles, we set out to find as many celebrity graves as we could. We traveled to Forest Lawn Hollywood Hills, Hollywood Forever, Pierce Brothers Westwood Memorial Park, and Holy Cross in Culver City. Obviously, we missed quite a few, and this is only a small sampling of what there is to see, but let's see who we found. There will also be a part 2, as well as individual famous grave tours at each of these cemeteries, plus others in the future. Right here is Bette Davis. She was known for her intense style and gained a reputation for being a perfectionist and a difficult person to work with. She won 2 Oscars for Best Actress and was the first person to earn 5 consecutive nominations, and she's often referenced as one of the greatest actresses of all time. She passed away in France at the age of 81. And just inside the courtyard and to the right is Liberace. He was a singer and an entertainer, Mr. Showmanship. His career spanned 4 decades, and he was the highest paid entertainer in the world from the 1950s to the 70s. He has 2 stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame and 6 gold albums. He passed away in 1987 at the age of 67. Just down the way here and on the left is Ronnie James Dio. He was the singer of the rock bands Dio, Rainbow, and at one time Black Sabbath. He had one of the most unique voices in rock and roll, and he was also one of the first people to ever give the rock horns that you frequently see at concerts all over the place. And they're prominently featured right here. In November of 2009, Dio announced that he had stomach cancer, and he passed away May 16th of 2010 at the age of 67. Now another one, when you think of loud rock and roll, you often think of Motorhead and frontman Lemmy Kilmister. He had a powerful voice, and he was a well-loved figure in music. In December of 2015, he was diagnosed with prostate cancer and passed away only 2 days later at the age of 70. Here in the courtyard is Carrie Fisher and Burt Reynolds. Carrie Fisher was best known as Princess Leia in Star Wars and as John Belushi's angry ex in the Blues Brothers. Her mother was Burt Reynolds, a Hollywood legend, best known for Singing in the Rain among many other classics. Carrie and Debbie were very close and they spent a lot of time together, and on December 23rd of 2016, Carrie was on a flight from London to Los Angeles when she suffered a medical emergency about 15 minutes prior to landing. A passenger performed CPR until medics could get to her. She was taken to UCLA Medical Center and passed away 4 days later. The following day, Burt Reynolds suffered a stroke when planning Carrie's arrangements. Her son Todd said that her final words were, "I want to be with Carrie." Just over here, we have Gary Marshall. He created Happy Days, Laverne and Shirley, and Mork and Mindy, among others. He passed away in 2016 at the age of 81. And right next to him is his sister, Penny Marshall, who starred in Laverne and Shirley and became a well-known figure herself, having directed A League of Their Own, among many others. She passed away in 2018 at the age of 75. And here is the final resting place of Stan Laurel of Laurel and Hardy. He was the gold standard for comedy and one of the true legends of the industry. He passed away in February of 1965 at the age of 74. Here is actor and comedian Dick Van Patten. He was seen in 8 is Enough, Robin Hood Men in Tights, and Spaceballs, among many others. He passed away in June 23rd of 2015 at the age of 86. Just over here is one of my personal favorites. This is John Ritter, best known as Jack Tripper from Three's Company. He appeared in over 100 films including Problem Child, Bad Santa, and Sling Blade. He was one of the most likable people in show business. In September of 2003, he was working on 8 Simple Rules. He felt sick on set and was taken to St. Joseph Medical Center. Initially, he was treated for a heart attack, but it ended up being identified as an aortic dissection, and he underwent surgery. He didn't make it through the surgery, and he passed away tragically on September 11th of 2003 at the age of 54. Right over here is Michael Clark Duncan, who was an actor best known for The Green Mile among many other notable roles. He passed away in August of 2012 from respiratory failure. This is the final resting place of actor Paul Walker. He was best known for the Fast and the Furious franchise, and on November 2013, Paul Walker left his charity event and hopped into the Porsche Carrera GT of his friend Roger Rodas. Minutes later, they crashed into a cement lamppost. Both Paul and Roger were killed on scene. And just over here is the actress Brittany Murphy. She was known for Clueless, 8 Mile, Just Married, and she also voiced Luann in King of the Hill. On December 20th of 2009, medics were called to her home after she collapsed. She was transported to Cedars-Sinai, where she passed away at the age of 32. Cause of death was ruled as pneumonia with secondary factors of anemia and prescription medication. This is Hollywood Forever Cemetery in Los Angeles. A lot of familiar names were buried here, and we're going to go and take a look at them right now. We'll start just to the side of the mausoleum, where we have actor Mickey Rooney. Mickey Rooney had a career that spanned 80 years in show business. He started off in the Andy Hardy series back in the 30s and 40s and developed a good amount of fame. He shared the screen with the biggest names and worked steadily for decades. Mickey Rooney was married 8 times, and he passed away in Studio City, California in 2014 at the age of 93. By that time, he was pretty much broke, and there were claims of abuse by those closest to him. He was one of the few left over from the Hollywood Golden Ages, though, and he'll be remembered as a legend. Just across the path from him is actor Anton Yelchin. Yelchin was known for the Star Trek reboot, Alpha Dog, and quite a few other movies. He was only 27 when he passed away in a freak accident when he was leaving for a rehearsal, stopped at the end of his driveway and got out to lock his gate, and his Jeep rolled back into him, crushing him against his gate. He passed away in 2016, and to this day his parents still visit him almost every day. Right next to him is somebody that you would know if you were a fan of music. This is Chris Cornell from Soundgarden. Chris Cornell was widely known as probably one of the best voices in modern music, and he was definitely at the top of the game in the grunge scene. But Chris Cornell passed away in 2017 after a show in Detroit, and sadly he took his own life. In one side note, Chester Bennington from Linkin Park was a close friend of Chris Cornell and actually sang at his funeral right here, not long before he sadly took his own life. Just to the left of Chris Cornell is one of the more influential guitarists of our time. Johnny Ramone from the Ramones is often ranked at the very top of most influential guitarists. He passed away in 2004 in Los Angeles at the age of 55. An interesting note, he's not actually buried here. He was cremated and his ashes were given to his wife Linda, but this is the memorial that a lot of people seem to think is where he's buried. Next is director and producer Tony Scott, the brother of Ridley Scott, but Tony brought us classics like Top Gun, Days of Thunder, and Man on Fire, among many others. Tony Scott influenced a lot of other filmmakers, and he was very well liked amongst his peers. He passed away at the age of 68 in 2012 by jumping off the Vincent Thomas Bridge in San Pedro. Just to the right of Tony Scott is cinematographer Halyna Hutchins. Halyna worked on over 30 films. Her most recent was Rust with Alec Baldwin. She was tragically killed in an accidental shooting on set. She was only 42. Going a little further back in time, this is Harry Cohn. He was the co-founder and president of Columbia Pictures. Moe Howard of the Three Stooges once said about Cohn that he was a Jekyll and Hyde-like character. He was very charming socially and then would scream at him in his office. Cohn passed away of a heart attack in Phoenix at the age of 66. This is Tyrone Power. He was a popular actor in the 1930s to the 1950s, appearing in dozens of films. He suffered a heart attack in Spain while he was working on a project and passed away at the age of only 44. It would be hard to find a more beloved figure than Burt Reynolds. Burt starred in Smokey and the Bandit, Deliverance, The Longest Yard, The Cannonball Run, and dozens of other pictures. He worked steadily until his death in 2018, and he was voted the #1 box office star from 1978 to 1982. Burt Reynolds passed away in Jupiter, Florida at the age of 82. Taking a quick break from the graves for a second to check out the other stars of Hollywood Forever Cemetery. There are ducks, swans, geese, peacocks, and cats that roam the grounds here. It's really a beautiful place to come and check out if you've never been. But on with the show. This is the cenotaph of Jane Mansfield. She's not actually buried here, but her marker is a very popular destination for fans. Next is legendary director and producer Cecil B. DeMille, who's commonly referred to as a founding father of American cinema. He gave us King of Kings, Cleopatra, 10 Commandments, among many others. The Cecil B. DeMille Award is handed out every year at the Golden Globes, honoring lifetime achievement in film. He passed away in Los Angeles at the age of 77. Right down here is the final resting place of actor, director, and producer Douglas Fairbanks, who made a name for himself in the silent film era. He was a founding member of the United Artists and the Motion Picture Academy. He hosted the first Academy Awards in 1929, and he also married actress Mary Pickford, and they became one of the first Hollywood power couples. Douglas Fairbanks passed away of a heart attack in Santa Monica, California, at the age of 56. In the back of the mausoleum is Italian actor Rudolph Valentino, who was made famous in the silent films and is one of the most popular of his era. His life was cut short tragically after he was diagnosed with appendicitis and gastric ulcers. He had surgery developing complications and passed away tragically at the age of 31. And perhaps the most visited person here is Judy Garland. Judy Garland is best known as Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz. She received an Oscar nomination for the film A Star is Born and also for Judgment in Nuremberg. She also released 8 studio albums and hosted an Emmy-nominated show, The Judy Garland Show. At the age of 39, she was the recipient of the Cecil B. DeMille Award, becoming the first woman and the youngest recipient. Tragically, she passed away at the age of 47 in London of an overdose. She wasn't originally buried here, but her family moved here a couple of years back, so this is a new location for her. Good afternoon, guys. Welcome back to Los Angeles, and this is Pierce Brothers Westwood Village Cemetery. Now, this is not a very big cemetery, but this is per capita probably the most star-studded cemetery of any place I've ever been, if not in existence, period. Now let's get right into it. This is the final resting place of Merv Griffin. He was a singer, a media mogul, and a talk show host. He hosted the Merv Griffin Show from 1965 till 1986. He also was known to create Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune. He passed away in 2007 at the age of 82. Now just to the right of Merv Griffin is Farrah Fawcett. She was an actress and a fashion model who rose to fame on Charlie's Angels and appeared on The $6 Million Man. She was nominated for 4 Emmys and 6 Golden Globes. She passed away in 2009 at the age of 62. Now just down here is one more legend that you might recognize, comedian Rodney Dangerfield. Rodney made a name for himself on the talk show circuit and doing stand-up comedy. He eventually became an actor with his first role in Caddyshack, and eventually did Back to School and Easy Money, among many other things. He opened a club in New York City called Dangerfield's, and he was very generous and helpful with other comedians getting their careers started. He passed away in 2004 at the age of 82. Here is the final resting place of Sage Stallone. He was an actor and also the eldest son of Sylvester Stallone. He played Rocky's son in Rocky V, and he passed away in 2012 at the age of 36. Now, some of the other stones around Sage are empty at the moment, so it is rumored that this may be where Sylvester Stallone plans to be buried, but it's not confirmed and nobody knows for sure. Right here is the unconventional grave of Peggy Lee. Peggy was a singer and songwriter and actress with a career that spanned 7 decades. She recorded over 1,100 masters and composed over 270 songs. She passed away in 2002 at the age of 81. Now just across from her is another bench, and these are, I believe, cremated graves, but this is the resting place of actor James Coburn. Now, he was an actor in over 70 films and did over 100 TV appearances. He won an Oscar in 1997 for his role as Glenn Whitehouse in Affliction. He passed away in 2002 at the age of 74. Now, just over here is the grave of the popular actress Florence Henderson. She was best known as Carol Brady in The Brady Bunch, and she went on to host The Florence Henderson Show. She passed away in 2016 in Los Angeles at the age of 82. Just a little further on the right is the final resting place of actress Doris Roberts. She won 5 Emmys over her career that spanned 7 decades. She was best known as Marie Barone from Everybody Loves Raymond, and also as the mother of Clark Griswold in National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. She was an advocate for animal rights, and she passed away in 2016 at the age of 90. Right over here is actor Jack Klugman. Among other things, he was known for The Odd Couple and Quincy. He had numerous roles in film and television since the 1950s. He won a Golden Globe and 3 Emmys. He passed away in 2012 at the age of 90. Just to the right of Jack is actress and singer Janet Leigh. She became best known for her role in Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho, for which she won the Golden Globe and was nominated for an Oscar. She also appeared in Bye Bye Birdie, Harper, Boardwalk, and then The Fog and Halloween H20 in 1998 with her daughter Jamie Lee Curtis. She passed away in 2004 at the age of 77. And right over here, it's hard to see, but this is the final resting place of Ray Bradbury. He was an author and a screenwriter, most well known for Fahrenheit 451 and The Martian Chronicles. He was credited for bringing science fiction into the mainstream. He passed away in 2012 at the age of 91. Right up here is the final resting place of actor Walter Matthau. He was best known for A Face in the Crowd, Bad News Bears, The Odd Couple, and Grumpy Old Men, among many others. He won an Oscar for his performance in Billy Wilder's The Fortune Cookie, and he often was seen acting alongside his best friend Jack Lemmon. He passed away in 2000 at the age of 79. Now just to the left of Walter Matthau is this unmarked grave, and this is where actor George C. Scott is buried. Now he was a director, producer, actor, best known for playing George S. Patton in the biopic Patton, for which he won an Academy Award. He refused the award, claiming that every dramatic performance was unique and could not be compared to others. He passed away in 1999 at the age of 71. Just a little bit further on the edge here is the grave of Kirk Douglas. He was an actor known for Champion, which brought him his first of 3 Oscar nominations in 1949. He was also known for The Bad and the Beautiful, Lust for Life, and Spartacus, among many others. He wrote 10 novels and memoirs, and he was ranked 17th on the AFI list of the greatest male stars. He was one of the last surviving members of Hollywood's Golden Age, and he lived to be 103 years old, passing away in 2020. Now the row behind Walter Matthau was his best friend, Jack Lemmon. Jack Lemmon was in over 60 films. He received 8 Oscar nominations and won 2, and he also won 6 Golden Globes, including the Lifetime Achievement Award. He was known for Mr. Roberts, Some Like It Hot, The Apartment, Save the Tiger, Odd Couple, and Grumpy Old Men, among many others. He passed away in 2001 at the age of 76. Next door to Jack Lemmon, we have Carroll O'Connor, who was best known as Archie Bunker in All in the Family. He was also in The Heat of the Night and Mad About You, among many other things. He passed away in 2001 at the age of 76. Now just to the left is director and screenwriter Billy Wilder. He was one of the most prolific directors in Hollywood history. He had 21 Oscar nominations and won 6 between directing and screenwriting. He was known for Double Indemnity, The Lost Weekend, Sunset Boulevard, The 7-Year Itch, Some Like It Hot, and The Apartment, among many others. He passed away in 2002 at the age of 95. And just past Billy Wilder is the grave of Peter Falk. He was best known for Columbo, for which he won 4 Emmys and a Golden Globe. He was also the first actor to ever be nominated for an Academy Award and an Emmy in the same year, in 1961. Peter Falk died in 2011 at the age of 83. And just across from him is Sam Simon, who was a writer and producer who helped bring us The Simpsons. He passed away in 2015 at the age of 59, and he was a huge animal lover and ended up donating most of his fortunes to charitable causes. Now just over here, we're going to find one of the most visited graves in all of Los Angeles. She was born Norma Jean Mortensen in 1926 and became one of the biggest actresses of all time. She was known for Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, How to Marry a Millionaire, The 7-Year Itch, and Some Like It Hot, among many others. She was married several times, with a very turbulent marriage to baseball star Joe DiMaggio. She passed away tragically at her home in 1962 at the age of 36. To her left is Hugh Hefner. Now, Hugh Hefner was known as the founder of Playboy magazine. The first issue was published in December of 1953, featuring Marilyn Monroe. Now, Hugh Hefner and Marilyn Monroe had never officially met, but Hugh Hefner credited her as helping jumpstart the magazine, and he bought this crypt next to her in 1992 for $75,000. He passed away in Los Angeles in 2017 at the age of 91. Next, we have Tim Conway, who was known for The Carol Burnett Show, McHale's Navy, and he voiced Barnacle Boy in SpongeBob SquarePants, among many other things. He won 6 Emmys during his career and passed away in Los Angeles in 2019 at the age of 85. Over here in the Sanctuary of Love, we have singer, actor, and comedian Dean Martin. He gained fame with Jerry Lewis and the duo Martin and Lewis, and he became one of the most popular acts in Las Vegas and was part of the Rat Pack with his friends Frank Sinatra, Sammy Davis Jr., Joey Bishop, and Peter Lawford. He became the roast master of the Dean Martin Celebrity Roast, and over his music career, he recorded over 600 songs. He passed away in 1995 at the age of 78. Just over here to the right is singer and composer Mel Torme. His career spanned over 65 years and he was a prolific and versatile musician. He spent a good part of his career recording jazz albums, and he also wrote songs and arrangements for The Judy Garland Show, among many others. He passed away in 1996 at the age of 73. Just down the row is everybody's favorite goofball, Don Knotts, who played Barney Fife in The Andy Griffith Show and Ralph Furley in Three's Company. TV Guide ranked him as number 27 on its 50 Greatest TV Stars of All Time list. He passed away in 2006 at the age of 81. Now, before we go any further, I just want to point out that this cemetery is really easy to not notice if you don't know exactly where it's at. But it's just off Wilshire Boulevard, and if you turn on Glendon, it takes you right in here. But this whole cemetery, I believe, is under 2 acres, but it's the best one that you could possibly see in Los Angeles if you are short in time. Now let's keep going with the tour. Now just over here is Heather O'Rourke. She was a child actress known as Carol Ann Freeling in Poltergeist. She also had a recurring role in Happy Days, but was plagued with health issues. She was diagnosed with Crohn's disease, and in January of 1988 she had flu-like symptoms and collapsed in her home. She suffered a cardiac arrest and was flown to the Children's Hospital of San Diego. It was discovered she had intestinal stenosis and went through emergency surgery, but she suffered another cardiac arrest in recovery. Medics spent 30 minutes trying to revive her, but to no avail. Her life was tragically cut short at the age of 12. Just above Heather is Jackie Collins and her husband Oscar Lerman. Jackie was a writer who wrote 32 novels, all of which ended up on the New York Times bestseller list, and she's referred to as one of the best writers of all time. She is also the younger sister of Joan Collins. She passed away in 2015 at the age of 77. Just down the wall is the final resting place of another literary legend, Truman Capote. He was known for Breakfast at Tiffany's and In Cold Blood. His works have been adapted into over 20 film and TV series. He passed away in 1984 at the age of 59. And you may notice right next to him is Joanne Carson. Joanne Carson was the wife of Johnny Carson, and she and Truman Capote were best friends and were buried next to each other. Back in the lawn is Natalie Wood, who was known for Rebel Without a Cause, The West Side Story, Splendor in the Grass, among many others. She won 4 Golden Globe Awards and received 3 Oscar nominations. In 1981, she was on a weekend boat trip to Santa Catalina Island with her husband Robert Wagner's boat. Also present, besides Robert Wagner, was Christopher Walken and the captain Dennis Devern. Circumstances are unknown, but she ended up in the water, and her body was discovered 1 mile from the boat on November 29th at 8 a.m. It was ruled an accidental drowning, but a lot of things have come to light since then, and Robert Wagner has been named a person of interest. And over here is the final resting place of Minnie Riperton Rudolph. She was a singer and songwriter best known for her 1975 hit Lovin' You. Early in her career, she sang backing vocals for Etta James, Bo Diddley, Chuck Berry, and Muddy Waters. In January of 1976, she was diagnosed with breast cancer and became the spokesperson for the American Cancer Society. She passed away in 1979 at the age of 31. And a side note, she was also the mother of Saturday Night Live alum Maya Rudolph. Next is the grave of Carl Wilson. Carl Wilson was a singer, songwriter, and co-founder of the Beach Boys, and the younger brother of Brian and Dennis Wilson. He sang lead vocals on God Only Knows, Good Vibrations, and Kokomo, among many others. He was diagnosed with lung cancer in 1997 and passed away in February of 1998 at the age of 51. Just to his left is actor Paul Gleason. You'd know him from All My Children, Trading Places, and best known as Principal Dick Vernon in Breakfast Club. He passed away in 2006 at the age of 67 from mesothelioma that doctors think was from exposure to asbestos from working on building sites as a teenager. Next we have Bettie Page, who was a model from the 1950s, and she was nicknamed Queen of Pinups. She's a pop culture icon. After her career, she spent most of her time outside of the public eye and didn't even realize that she was an icon. She passed away in 2008 at the age of 85, and she passed away actually broke, and Hugh Hefner paid for her burial right here. And over here we have Burt Lancaster, who enjoyed a 45-year career, and he was a 4-time Academy Award nominee, having won once. He was one of the greatest stars of classic cinema. He passed away in October of 1994 at the age of 80. Welcome to Holy Cross Cemetery in Culver City, California. Now there's a lot of legends here, but I only have about a half an hour until I'm due at LAX for my flight. But I'll show you as much as I can of these beautiful grounds and of those laid to rest here. Now let's get started. First we have Sharon Tate Polanski, who was a well-known actress and the wife of famed director Roman Polanski. They moved in together into the house at 10050 Cielo Drive. Sharon was 8 months pregnant at the time on the night of August 8th of 1969. Members of the Manson family came over to her home and brutally murdered Sharon Tate, her unborn child, as well as several other innocent victims there that night. She was only 26 years old. This is the final resting place of Rita Hayworth. She was an actress who rose to fame in the 1940s and best known for her 1946 film Gilda. She appeared in 61 films and was voted in the top 25 for Best Female Motion Picture Stars by the AFI. She passed away in 1987 at the age of 68. Here we have the grave of actor Jack Haley, best known as the Tin Man from The Wizard of Oz. He was in a number of other films over the years, and he passed away in 1979 in Los Angeles at the age of 81. Near him rests the godfather of horror film, Bela Lugosi. Lugosi is best known for the 1931 film Dracula. He found himself typecast as a horror villain and tried to find other roles. He eventually teamed up with Ed Wood for a series of films later in life. He passed away in 1956 at the age of 73. A couple plots down from him lies one of the most influential artists of the 20th century, Bing Crosby. He made over 70 films and recorded over 1,600 songs. The biggest song of his career was his recording of Irving Berlin's White Christmas. He also received the Academy Award for Best Actor for Going My Way in 1944. He also received 23 gold and platinum records. Bing Crosby passed away in 1977 at the age of 74. Now we head into this beautiful mausoleum. Just inside the door and to the left is the final resting place of Ray Bolger, best known as the Scarecrow in The Wizard of Oz. Following that role, he did quite a bit of stage acting as well as other films and television. He passed away in 1987 at the age of 83. Next, just down this hall and to the right, is comedic actor John Candy. Candy started his career as a member of Second City and became a lovable character and stole the scene in just about every film he was in regardless of the role. He appeared in The Blues Brothers, Uncle Buck, Home Alone, Summer Rental, Stripes, and my personal favorite, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. He was a beloved member of Hollywood, and he was a fantastic guy to boot. He was in Mexico in 1994 shooting scenes for Wagons East when his life was cut tragically short at the age of only 43. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this adventure. Next time we will check out a lot of the people that we missed and a lot of the other parks that we didn't get to today. There's so much more to see in Los Angeles and way too much to cover in one video. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe for other cemetery tours and interesting locations.